really, really bad pictures from my childhood. Our next speaker, Barter. She's CEO and co-founder of the Lady Project. I think she's over here. She's incredible. I actually have been a fan of hers and she doesn't even know for years. And I will let her talk next. And I'm so glad she agreed to come because boss ladies like Ciara need to be on this stage.
Thank you so much, Alisha, for having me here. So I grew up in Wisconsin, and I have a big mullet. Consequences of a white childhood in the Midwest. I love my parents. However, it was the 80s. You know, everyone makes a lot of mistakes in the hair department. Well, first off, I just want to thank you to Alisha and the incredible women that we have heard tonight. And I know we have a few speakers after me, so thank you so much for having me in this incredible lineup, this amazing space. When I think about myself, I was probably like 5 there. Like I said, I grew up in Wisconsin. I came up to Rhode Island in 2005 to go to Johnson & Wales University. I never visited Rhode Island. I only applied to Johnson & Wales. I grew up in a very, very conservative, very white, very lower middle class town. You know, when you think about the flyover states where I grew up as quintessential, factory working, get her done, blue, you know, very blue collar, and nobody ever left. Most of my family is still in Wisconsin. My father is actually British, and my mom studied abroad and came back with a gift. So my biological father, they got divorced when I was 4 after having my brother, and he's always lived in England. But my family is Wisconsin, and I remember telling my stepdad I was very into marketing in high school. It was very cool, obviously. Very into marketing and Molly and other cool activities. However, I remember saying to him, like, I'm going to go to school in Rhode Island. And he was like, no, you're not. He's like, what are you thinking? And we were broke. We weren't, you know, we struggled to pay the bills. My family lost their home in the financial crash. My mom was an entrepreneur. There were 4 kids. My stepdad was a carpenter. We weren't in a position to send the oldest child to a private school on the East Coast. It was just ridiculous. It was like, no, you're going to the tech school, then you're going to transfer to the state school because that made no sense. And for some reason, it worked out. And I moved here, never visiting the state, never visiting the college, and it was with my best friend, Brandon, who lives in Boston. And we both were like, let's do it. Like, just 2 18-year-olds not knowing those small decisions would take us on the course for the rest of our lives. And I look back on that, and I look back on my upbringing, and, you know, I was very fortunate to have, despite my biological father not being in the picture my entire life, you know, with the exception of the occasional visits here and there, and, you know, inconsistent child support, you know, I had a great childhood. I had loving parents. My mom told me she loves me all the time, and it's great. And, you know, by coming out here, I broke out of my shell. And I think if I could tell myself, go back in time to little Ciara, I would tell myself 5 things. And one of them is to slow down. And I've always been somebody who just wants to get the next thing. And I remember in high school just being like, I need to get to college. That's where my real life's going to start. And then in college, I just wanted to get out and work. And I'm like, what the hell? Stay in school as long as you can. You have basically no responsibilities at this point, and life is great. You live in a dorm. You don't pay the heating bill. It's fabulous, right? I wish I still had all my meals prepared for me at all times of the day. And, you know, showed up to class at 11:30 in the afternoon. But savoring those moments, and as a kid, you live your life in these little bulks of time, right? Like you have your elementary school years, you have your middle school years, you have high school years, and you know, 4 years in high school and college just seem like so long. But I can't tell you what I've done 4 years ago. Like, I don't think I can think of a single day in 2014. Really though, I mean, life goes by so quick, and once you're out of living your life in those pre-described blocks, it really goes by so quickly, and just to savor those moments when you're a young person, and to really take those risks, and to get out of your comfort zone. Like I mentioned, I grew up in a very homogenous neighborhood. I don't think I ever had cilantro until I moved to Rhode Island, which I also hate. I learned that I hate cilantro. But I never, I don't think I've ever met a Portuguese person until I moved to Rhode Island, which I think is also very unique to Rhode Island. My fiance is Portuguese, so, now I have a whole family of them. However, but just being in a place of diversity that I never had before, and now that is so important to my values and so important to the way I want to potentially raise my future children and in the community I want to be around, and just recognizing that there's a much bigger world out there. And I think too, and when, Alisha was telling me about this panel, she's like, it's for young women, particularly women of color. And I'm not a woman of color, clearly that's me as a baby. And, but I think so much about the privilege that I have just from the skin that I was born in with an English father and a Wisconsin mother, right? Like, you can't get whiter than that. And, really, I mean, it is what it is. However, in people where I grew up, in a place where when you talk about white privilege, it's automatically defense. Well, I shouldn't apologize for being white. It's like, no, nobody should apologize for having brown hair or 10 fingers. And, you are the way you are, you're born the way you are, but you have to recognize the advances that you've been given in life because of these things that you were just born with. The fact that you can walk is a privilege. The fact that you can speak, the fact that have English as your first language, the fact that I was born with white skin, automatically put me up farther than the women and the men that I know who weren't. And by recognizing that and amplifying those voices when I have the opportunity, that's something that I'm really proud of within the Lady Project. And as Alisha mentioned, I'm the CEO and the co-founder, and we're actually sunsetting at the end of the year. And it's something that I have grappled with over the last 2 years, because we are in a position and we are in a group where we can amplify so many women's voices in small businesses, and people who are running for office, or people who are making a really big impact, not only here in Providence, but around the country. And I got to a point, and one of the lessons I want to make sure that little Sierra knows is to protect yourself. And that it's okay to say no and to back up. I think we've all probably been in positions where we're maybe volunteering with a nonprofit, and maybe that flame has just burnt out. Maybe you're like, this is really great for what it was, or maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job, whatever it is, and giving yourself permission to say no, and to know when to step back. And so many of the women who are on this stage tonight have talked about their value and their worth. And I got to a point, I turned 31 last year, I just turned 32, and I got to a point where literally at 31, I was like, okay, I need to take care of myself. I was at a point where I was probably sleeping 6 hours a night, not exercising, not eating well, not prioritizing, I can't talk tonight, my friends and family and my relationships. I was in a bad, relationship for about 5 years where I thrusted all of my energy into Lady Project because I didn't want to deal with what was going on the other side. And when I finally got out of that and I fell in love, I was like, whoa, I want to enjoy my time. What is this revelation? And as much as I loved Lady Project, and I was so proud of the work that we've done, and so proud of the lives that we have touched, and we just had our final summit this past weekend, and so many women came up to me and were like, you've changed my life. You have made me confident, you made me start my own business, like, you've inspired me to do A, B, C, and D, and that is the greatest honor that anyone can tell me. But at the end of the day, you also need to be true to yourself, and to learn when to shut that door, and do it in a way that feels good to you. And I'm a Virgo, so I was like, we're starting with a plan, we have a 6-month plan, we have PowerPoints, documents, and all that stuff, right? We're doing a press tour, the whole shebang, because you also don't want anyone to feel like you're pulling out the rug from underneath them. And Lady Project was too important for all of us involved to just close the door one day and say, see you later. You have to do it the right way. But I was burnt out, and protecting yourself and taking that time with friends and family, because life does go by really fast. And the time that you do have with your parents, your siblings, and your loved ones and your friends is really, really important. And, I understand this girl boss culture is really important to inspire young women, particularly to start their own businesses, which is awesome. But I also think there's a side of it that can be really damaging, where it's like, if you're not, raising $4 million and on the cover of Forbes in your first year, you're failing. Because I think there is this hustle pretense, and if you're not hustling enough, then you're not winning. But on the other side, hustle comes with a lack of self-care. It comes with a lack of feeling good about yourself. It comes with a sense of never being good enough at what you're doing. And I got to a point where I was like, I don't care if I'm not named the Forbes 30 under 30. And that should have sailed 2 years ago. I mean, but there was a time in my life where I was legitimately sad. And I'm like, what is my life? Like, this does not mean anything to me. And the people around me, the people who really truly care about me, my parents and my siblings, yeah, they're proud of me, but they just want me to be happy. They don't care if I, was named to so-and-so or did this and that. Like, they just want me to be happy. So I think, when I'm thinking about that, and I think about my worth that goes so much into it, and I think the other lesson I would tell myself to little Sierra in Hartford, Wisconsin, is none of the boys or girls, whatever your preference is, were not worth it. And I wasted so much time and so many live journal entries pining over stupid boys who, and they were nice kids, right? Like, they were fine at the time, but I just put so much of my self-worth, and, unlike Alisha, boys did not like me at all in high school. Like, I couldn't have, given away my kisses. I was 80 pounds and a tiny twerp of a kid for a really long time. But I validated so much because I saw my friends getting that attention. It's all I wanted. And I put myself in really terrible situations, where at one point I was assaulted because I just wanted that attention. And I wish I could say to my younger self, none of these boys are worth it, and when you find the one that is, that I'm marrying, it's gonna be great. Because, I think Eileen said it, that true love, you don't have to feel like you're not worthy because I walk into the room knowing that person loves me, whether I've done something really cool that day or I've actually had a terrible day and I look like a hot mess. So with that, I feel that young women have the world open for them, and to just know to just get out of wherever you are, whether that's here in Providence, and I'm sure all the moms in the room are like, don't tell my kid to leave, I want them here forever. Even if it's a study abroad or you go away to college, fine, get out of your comfort zone and protect yourself, protect your time, and know it's okay to step down, and that your worth is in you, and when you find that person, if that's what you want, it's gonna be great, and if it's not, that's okay too, because like Alisha said, you have to love yourself before all of that is figured out. So, thank you.